Good morning, Ultimate Hustlers. It is that time for the Cortez Hustle Show. And today I got a very special guest with us today. And we're talking financial footwork, your relationship with money, and how to train your money like an athlete. Hillary Seiler is going to be joining us here momentarily. So do me a favor, comment in the chat where you're from, drop the name of your business and or your brand, and smash that share button, ladies and gentlemen. This is one you do not want to miss. It's about to go down. If you want to understand how your relationship with money could be holding you back, or it could be your secret sauce to success, then you definitely want to tune in live and in living color for today's show. So let us know where you're from, drop the name of your business and your brand, smash that share button, ladies and gentlemen, and let's kick it. Yo, what's up, Ultimate Hustlers, and welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show, the business podcast for the entrepreneur of the 21st century. And I'm your host, Cortez Hustle. Our goal is to give you a behind-the-scenes look at how the world's greatest hustlers build amazing brands, scale their businesses to incredible heights, sell more, make more, and create mass movements that impact the world. It doesn't matter if you're a seasoned vet or you're sitting on the sidelines with aspirations to one day unleash your inner hustle. This show will provide the insights into how pure grit, determination, and hard work has morphed into some of the most iconic brands and personalities, and how they are moving the culture forward. You'll get a mix of solo shows featuring yours truly, as well as interviews and content from other hustlers that I either know personally, or I've learned from, or whose grind I've come to know and respect. And you'll also get exclusive recordings from our membership called Monetize My Life Academy, which you can check out at monetizemylifeacademy.com. That's a program where we go live every month with some of the best hustlers on the planet, sharing best practices on how we all can explode our brands with advanced branding and marketing tactics, business development strategies, and financial game planning necessary to build the empires we all desire. Again, that's at monetizemylifeacademy.com. If you like today's episode, chances are the hustlers you're connected to will like it as well. Share it with those in your network. And when you do, use hashtag Cortez Hustle so I can see you and hopefully give you a shout out and share you in my stories. So check out today's episode and make sure you subscribe to the feed on your favorite podcasting networks. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show. I am, of course, your host, Cortez Hustle, also known as the one and only financial health mentor, everybody's favorite fatherpreneur from myperfectmoneyplan.com, where you can go check out the Generational Wealth Masterclass, where I show you exactly where to go, what to look for to get double-digit returns on your investment. If your investment portfolio isn't doubling every 4 to 5 years, you, my friend, want to go check out the Generational Wealth Masterclass, myperfectmoneyplan.com. We got a wonder-filled show for you today. I got a special guest that I'm going to introduce to you guys. I'm excited about bringing her on. She's doing great work in the community, and she has a unique perspective on how to become more financially literate. So welcome, Vivian. Welcome, Glenda. Welcome. David is always talking about I do Cash App. Who needs a bill paid? We're going to go ahead and block David this morning. Nevertheless, this is what we do, guys. Let me know where you're tuning in from. If you are building something special like a business or a brand, and let us know the name of your business and or your brand. I'd love to give you a free business shout out as well. Quick announcement before we get rolling in today's show, guys. I don't know if you guys know, but I am super excited that the Instant Authority Blueprint is now open and taking on clients. What is the Instant Authority Blueprint, guys? It is our 21 days to launch. If you're a coach, consultant, you're a speaker, trainer, you're an entrepreneur, online influencer, and you want to add some authority to your brand, one of the best ways to do that is by becoming a published author. So what does that mean for you? That means I can help you become a published author, launch your own book in 21 days, build a brand around it, and then also help you create the systems and the mechanisms that you need to sell and promote and market that book as well. If you are interested in becoming a published author, then I want you to comment keyword published Or if you're listening to this via the podcast, then go to workwithcortez.com/publish to get all of the details. Now, it is time for me to bring on our special guest. And normally I have a bio to read, but this time I got a short video to play to introduce our guest for today. So check this out.
Financial Footwork. We help you train your money through an education-based platform that provides you the tools and coaching you need to win in your financial life. We created My Money Playbook, a resource for you to form daily positive financial habits so that you can achieve your goals. Train your money like you train for a sport, step by step using our financial workouts. Financial Footwork, your track to success.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor and distinct pleasure of introducing Certified Financial Education Coach, Hillary Seiler. How you doing, Hillary?
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
I am super excited to have you here. When I looked at some of the work that you are doing in this financial education space with some of the NFL players and all of that kind of stuff, I got super stoked. I'm like, man, this is somebody that we need to be hearing from. However, before we get into who you are and all that kind of stuff, I like to start the show with a quote of the day. So I'll give you my quote that every day I start my day with some sort of motivation, and something always jumps out at me. So I jot that down and share it with the audience. So if you have a favorite quote, you can give yours, or if you want to just chime in your thoughts on this one, you can do that as well. But today's quote of the day right here on the Cortez Hustle Show is as follows. It's not the event that determines how we feel. It's the meaning that we associate with the event that determines how we feel. And that meaning is given to that event by us. And that is the great Tony Robbins. We have things going on in our lives all the time, and we allow those things to cause us to feel a certain way, whether it's happy or sad, whether it's mad, upset, angry, or whatever. But it's not the event. It's the meaning that we give that event, and including when you look at something like failure, right? The meaning I give to failure, Hillary, is that, man, I am one step closer. I am super excited. I failed and got that out of the way, and it propels me forward. Some people give the meaning of failure a negative meaning, and it causes them to quit. So that is my quote of the day. You got a favorite quote, or you want to chime in on that one?
I love that quote. I've actually heard that one before, and I completely agree. People just, any experience you're going through is going to give meaning to any event that you're experiencing. And so whatever you're going through might reflect exactly what's happening to you, and maybe not what that event is supposed to be teaching you. Right. But my favorite quote is a really simple one. I heard it a long time ago when my mom was pretty ill, and it's life is an occasion, rise to it. And that always hit me, because life is something that we only get to live one time. And if we're not waking up every single day and tackling that day, we're not rising to the occasion that we've been given.
Wow. Wow. That is powerful. Mom, very, very wise words. So that is the quote of the day right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, brought to you by financialfootwork.com. If you want to train your money like an athlete, then you need to check out financialfootwork.com and learn all about how you can get your money working for you better. Use promo code HUSTLE20, and that's let Hillary know that you guys came from the Cortez Hustle Show. So real quick, Hillary, tell everybody who the heck is Hillary Seiler?
So I'm just a country girl from Oregon who fell in love with money as a kid, learned a lot about it from my parents, and then realized I had a passion for it. And while I was in college, I had a couple of friends that were football players at Oregon State University, and I was helping them understand money. And then ironically enough, 9 of those guys got drafted to the NFL, and we are now, right? It's pretty cool. I'm now 15 years out of college, if you can believe that. I'm in my mid-30s, and
nice.
Can't even believe that now. I say that and I go, wow, okay, so I'm getting up there a little bit. No, I'm really not. I realized I really loved working with athletes. And so I
Okay.
designed a financial education program for professional athletes because I saw a need. And this was quite a few
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah.
And then I started working with players just individually.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, this was about 2009. And in 2016, I got my first NFL contract. And I started working with the Miami Dolphins. And since then, we now have 8 teams in contract that we work with on a yearly basis.
Wow.
And players all across the league, because as you know, everyone gets moved and traded and people shift. So we actually have players active at over 17 teams at the moment that we're working with. And
Wow.
it's a blast. And I fell in love with teaching athletes. And then COVID hit. And I said, and then COVID hit. And I went, well, I'm not going to any NFL training facilities. So still working with the guys on Zoom, love it. But my friends were coming to me saying, I need help. I need a lot of help. And I said, I can take what I do with athletes, but I can convert it to something that people like me could use every day. And that's exactly what we created Financial Footwork for, so that everyday people like you and me can work out our money every single week and actually move towards our goals and use the right tools to get there, because that's what we're lacking in the world. So that's me. That's my story.
Awesome. Country girl from Oregon, right? I don't think country when I think Oregon, right? But I guess every state has a little country in it somewhere, right?
Oh,
But you say you started in college and you started just working with the athletes there. No idea these guys were going to the NFL. No idea that you saw the need. And this is why I'm so interested in this conversation, is because we hear the statistics, right? These guys stop playing. 3 to 5 years later, they're bankrupt after a multi-million-dollar career. Right? What is happening before the intervention of Coach Hill, right? What did you see that was happening to these guys that was leading to that phenomenon before you kind of intervene and start helping them with their money?
Well, there's a really big misconception with the NFL that all these guys are millionaires, and the majority of them actually aren't. And that's what's pretty shocking. So we all know about the first round draft picks. We all know they get huge contracts. But guys that go 3rd round and later, 4th round and later, they don't make millions of dollars. They make rookie salary, and they might get a nice signing bonus. Maybe if they're in the 3rd or 4th round, they could make, $350,000 to $700,000, and then they're living off rookie salary, assuming that they stay in the league. So the average NFL lifespan is 3.3 years. That's how long a player typically stays in the league, and the average rookie salary year to year has actually been rather low. It wasn't until last year that it actually peaked over 600,000 as a rookie. So last year it was 610,000, which, do not get me wrong, that's a lovely salary.
Yeah. Yes.
That's a beautiful salary. But
or is it though, Hillary?
It is if you do the
Because
right
when you
things.
think about they're doing something they love, so that is lovely. But what these guys are putting their body through, it's justifiable to me for the multi-millions. But man, especially with all the information coming out about CTE and those kinds of things, it's like, is 600,000 enough, right? But continue.
No, I'm with you. I mean, we can debate. That's a whole nother debate we could have, which I love. But thinking about entertainment is the highest paying industry in the world, and sports is a huge piece of that. So the salary in and of itself, when we come out of college, I was like, woohoo, I'm making $30,000 a year in 2009. Go team. These guys in 2009 were making, I think the base salary was between $360,000 and $400,000 for an NFL rookie.
Gotcha.
Now, it doesn't matter if you go 1st round or you go the 7th round or you go undrafted. You're still making the same salary as a rookie. Your signing bonus is where you get paid. Okay. And so what ends up happening with these young men is they're 22 years old. They're young. They're excited. They're on an emotional high because they are now in the NFL. That they've hit the peak. They are where they want to be. And they're earning more money than they've ever seen. So it's very easy to just say, well, I'm getting $660,000. I'm going to spend it all. Right. But they're really not getting 660, are they? They're really getting like 350.
Yeah, they've got a Uncle Sam and an Aunt Iris that has something to say about what they actually get, right?
Exactly. Uncle Sam's like, okay, so I'm going to take my half and just why don't you put that over here and never look at it.
Yeah.
And now you've got between 360 and 400,000 to work with, give or take, because you're in the highest tax bracket. And also, these guys are charged by state that they play in. So the teams travel, and every time they travel to a different state, they are taxed whatever the state tax is for the state that they play in.
Really? Like per on game day? Right.
Yeah.
So if I play for the Dolphins and this week we're not a home game, so we're going to play in Dallas, for instance. Well, there could be a tax on my salary because I performed in Dallas. I get paid that week in Dallas. So now I got to pay a tax for the state of Texas. Are you kidding me?
Oh, I'm serious. This is real. Actually, it's good they're playing in Dallas. Dallas has a 0%
Dallas doesn't have
tax.
the state tax, right? Yeah. What? Wow.
So it gets a little rough when you travel to New York and play there, or you travel to California and you play there, because we'll use Cleveland, for example. They're one of the teams that I have the pleasure of working with. The state tax in Cleveland is 4.99% or 5. We'll just round it up to say 5%. Right. That's the state income tax. If they travel to California and play San Francisco, which is another amazing team I have the pleasure of working with, they're actually going to pay the state tax in California, which is a tiered tax, and it starts at 5% and goes up to 13.3%. So depending on how much they earn in the state of California that year, they're paying closer to the 13.3% for the one game day check they receive in California. So their taxes get real complicated real fast. And, at 22, I was just trying to figure out how much money I have to keep. Now add 8 extra states to that, and you're like, what in the hell is going on? So, yeah, these guys are, compound the entertainment tax, compound the celebrity status, compound that you're 22 years old. Man, I would have fallen flat on my face. Yeah. I would have been broke because no one teaches you anything, and then you get everything thrown at you and you're drinking from a fire hose. Yeah. So I have a lot of respect for these young men because they come into the building and they listen. They actually really listen and they care. Yeah. And we are actively working with them regularly just to make sure their questions are answered. At 22 years old, did you know how to negotiate a car?
No.
Purchase?
No.
Did you know how to buy a house, what a real estate agent was, how much they got paid?
No.
Did you know how to look at your bank account and understand the debits and credits?
Nope.
No. And now you've come into all this money, and then you've got the emotional high behind that money, and everyone is so excited around you. It's hard not to spend it. And there's not a lot of it. First round and second round draft picks, okay, they're a different bucket, but there's only 60 of them. That's not a big number. Yeah. So you've got 1,000 other guys trying for these spots that aren't going to make that kind of money. And everyone assumes they're all millionaires, which they're not. So it's even they assume they're millionaires. They assume they're super ultra wealthy because they have no context. And that money goes really, really fast.
Yeah, and I can imagine with that perception from everyone around them, it's very easy to try to look the part, right? Yeah. Everybody believes that I'm a millionaire making all of this money. Then if I cannot show up back in my neighborhood with nothing less than a $250,000 car, right?
Right. Oh, absolutely.
Those kinds of things is, oh man, that is amazing. Now, this is a whole nother thing because I didn't know about the different state. So, oh man, so now that goes into why the NFL owners want to make sure that the states pay for these stadiums and all of this kind of stuff, because it's like when we bring these teams in here, y'all taxing these players, so y'all gonna build us a stadium. That's a whole nother thing. But so when you had your first conversation, because I can imagine that it had to be eye-opening for you to first get a grasp and understanding of all of those things that you just shared with us. And I'm sure there's a gazillion other things that you have to understand about that. Because I didn't know about an entertainment tax, right?
Yeah, so, there's entertainment tax, yep.
So are there any other taxes that these guys are faced with that we have no clue about, or any other hidden things that are money drains that the average person looking at these salaries saying, oh man, they got it good and we have no clue about?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that these guys have to deal with that outsiders have no idea about. Think about it this way. I'm pretty sure the NFL took the military playbook and said, this is how we're going to run our business. Because in the military, you get in trouble if your uniform isn't solid, if your bed isn't made correctly, if you don't show up on time. Like, you can end up fined or in a brig, which is not a good place to be, or you can get demoted. Well, the NFL does something a little different. What's cool about the NFL is they hold these men accountable, and these guys know the rules. They know what they need to do, and they show up every day and do it. And when I say they show up every day, there are no sick days in the NFL. 2-3 years ago, when I was traveling all the time, I ended up with a really bad cold. And I was like, I don't think I can go. I don't think I can go to Cleveland. I don't think I'm going to make it. I don't think I'm going to make it to Miami. I don't think I'm going to make it to these places. And I was like, wait a minute, these guys don't get to call in sick. I don't get to call in sick. So I wore a mask. I showed up and I gave my presentation. But you know, you can be fined if your uniform is not correct. If you miss a practice, you can be fined. If you don't show up to something that's mandatory for the team, you can be fined. There's rules. It is a job. Let's just put it this way. It is a job first and foremost. And then it's fun. And so there's a lot of rules and things that they have to abide by. Just like you and I, if we have a business and we just decide one day that, oh, I'm just not going to ship my product to the 2,000 people that bought it, what's going to happen? We're going to be in trouble. Better Business Bureau is going to come after us. People are going to be demanding refunds. We have an obligation to our clients to service whatever contracts we've promised them. These guys have the same obligation, just at a much higher level and a lot more eyeballs on them. And that's kind of where I see the differences. And there's so many little things, and I won't get into all the minute details. And I still learn every year. There's always something new. But imagine being 22 and being told where to be from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. every single day during the season. You don't get a choice. Like, you don't get to say, I don't want to go to work today. Well, there's a guy right behind you who wants your spot. So deuces.
That's right. Oh man, I love that. So Hillary, we do another segment on the Cortez Hustle Show called 1 Minute Motivation. I am huge on personal growth and self-development in a positive direction. Because here's the funny thing. We don't realize, most people, that everything we consume is contributing to our personal growth and self-development. Question is, are you growing in the right direction, right? So I play a short motivational video, about 90 seconds. You give me your takeaway. I'll give a couple of takeaways. The audience usually comments a takeaway or two. So let's get into 1 minute motivation right here on the Cortez Hustle Show.
So when you start to focus and you delete distraction from your life, and you start to get seriously invested in doing one thing staggeringly well, and you practice that one thing over and over, a term to think about is mundanity. You do one simple, seemingly insignificant thing every day around your main skill, and it's very mundane, but small daily improvements over time lead to world-class results. Well, here's what happens in your brain. You start to isolate a single neurocircuit around that skill, and that starts to trigger a certain type of brain cell called an oligodendrocyte, which then releases myelin. Myelin is a fatty tissue that starts to wrap around that single neurocircuit related to that main skill you've been practicing. And when myelin starts to wrap around the brain circuit, what happens is you have accelerated learning times, you can see more quickly, heightened perception, and you'll learn more quickly. And that is really the quote-unquote secret of the great producers. It's not a result of some natural gift, but their daily practice, their relentlessness and their grit, their work ethic, and their singular focus and sacrifice.
Hoo-wee! Man, that stuff fires me up, Coach Hill.
I love it.
Give me a quick takeaway.
I mean, first and foremost, as soon as I saw the carrot dangling there, I was just like, where is this going? You're dangling the carrot. Where is it going?
That's right.
I absolutely love how you can do a small thing every single day that elevates you to the top of the top around one thing. And I think NFL players are the perfect example of that. They are right?
They are. And these are done in advance. So I don't know which clip is going to be for what video. And this is perfect for what we're talking about today, because when they say focus, we've all heard the word focus. You got to get laser focus. But then he breaks down the science behind what happens in the brain when you're laser focused. This is how these guys develop these superpowers, right? Yes. I mean, he says, because you develop these oligodendrocytes and then they're wrapped in myelin. So no wonder they can make 1,000 calculations in less than a second on a football field, right? Because they're creating a superpower with the way they focus on their training. And here's how I bring it all back to financial footwork. Guys, you can develop the same oligodendrocytes around your money if you practice and focus on doing that mundane thing around your financial literacy, your financial goals, your financial aspirations and dreams, right? Focus and sacrifice, they said, man. And this is how athletes literally
move faster.
You get to make quicker decisions based around your money. You'll be able to understand concepts and precepts quickly. Think about those people who have opportunities presented before them, and it takes them a month to make a decision. And wealthy people say, oh, I see that. I see where that's going. I'm going to make a decision. I'm in. And by the time you make up your mind, they've already made millions of dollars.
It's already done. You missed it. It's gone.
You miss the chance to jump on that wave. So that is 1 minute motivation right here on the Cortez Hustle Show. Don't forget, guys, go to myperfectmoneyplan.com if you want to check out the Generational Wealth Master Class. So Hillary, as you start working with these guys more and more, when did it become clear that, okay, if I can do this with guys who have large salaries, then I can probably do this with the everyday average man and woman who's trying to figure things out just like these guys? They may not be 22 with 600,000, but 22 going from no income to your first 50,000. And now I got a car, I got a house, maybe kids are entering the picture. That's almost equivalent to like, hey, I just went from nothing to something real fast. And I got all of these other decisions and things I need to know about. But most people are just winging it. So when did you make that decision that, you know what, not only do I need to do this for the athletes, but the everyday average common working American needs these same financial tips and strategies?
Yeah, I mean, I've always wanted to work with everybody, and that's a lofty goal, I realize.
Yeah.
It really is. But I like to help people, and I made the decision to work with athletes because it was just the trajectory I was on at that point in my life. But I knew I wanted to help everyone because I personally went through some stuff, different word, but some stuff when I was younger. So when I was 19 years old, my mother was diagnosed with an autoimmune disorder, and the doctors actually didn't know what it was. Okay. And so they knew it was autoimmune, but they couldn't actually tell us or pinpoint. It wasn't Lyme disease. It wasn't lupus. It wasn't this. It wasn't that. And so from 19 to 26, I actually experienced what I would consider the most financial stress that I've ever been under as a human. And that was because my mom was in and out of hospitals. We didn't know what was wrong with her. The medical bills were stacking up. I was in college. I went from having a college savings account to working full time so I could put myself through college. And we're talking in a blink of an eye. My sophomore year in college, the summer between my freshman and sophomore year, my mom went into the hospital. She was there for 17 days in the ICU, and my college savings was depleted. So in a matter of a summer, I went from being on the track to having like this really great, amazing college opportunity where I didn't have to work and I got to do all the college stuff to, okay, I'm gonna have to get a job and I'm gonna have to take out student loans and I'm gonna figure this out. Yeah. And that was step one of the financial adventure for myself. And then as I was helping my athlete friends who were making money, I couldn't rub two pennies together to buy a cup of coffee. So I was learning financial hardship a different way.
Right.
And they were actually there. So my really good friend Shane at Oregon State University, he played ball there for 4 years and then went on to be undrafted in the NFL, kind of saw what was going on with me. And he would fill up my fridge with his scholarship check.
Wow.
So yeah, really, really good human. And so in return, I helped him with finance. So that was just how we kind of traded it off. And I realized, okay, it's not just people without money that struggle. It's everyone with money. And it has nothing to do with how much you make. It has everything to do with how you handle the money you make.
That's right. That's right.
You can have $1 million and be broke, but you can have $10,000 and you invest it wisely, you can become a millionaire over time. It depends on how you handle it. So that kind of pushed me in the direction of how do I help people, because I was going through it. Hundreds of thousands of dollars in medical bills for my family. And my mom ended up passing when I was 26 and got to see the ramification. Oh, thank you. Yeah. This was eight years ago, going on 9. And I watched all of that. I saw what happens to you emotionally. I saw what happens to you physically when someone is sick. And then, of course, I watched the bank accounts and I just went, gosh, no one should ever have to go through this. And how do I help people avoid it? And my dad is a very financially savvy guy. He always has been. So he came out of this, not broke, but 54 years old and having to restart life. He's supposed to be like on the trajectory of retirement in 10 years. And he's like, well, here we go. And so I went, all right, one, I want to retire my father. I want him to retire comfortably. But I also would never want anyone else to go through 7 years of the hell that I lived with my family. And that was why I created Financial Footwork. I already had the athlete platform rolling. I had friends asking me for help, and then COVID hit, and I went, okay, the world is telling me you can't wait anymore. Get to work.
Do it now.
Got to do it now. And so I wrote my money playbook, 1.0 and 2.0. It's 6 months of financial exercises and training, and it's all the fundamentals. It's all the really basic stuff that we're never taught. How do you budget? When should you be looking at your bank accounts? How do you plan your bill pay calendar? Because a lot of people don't do that. They just they kind of wing it, which not great for your credit score. How do you save money? Right? I mean, the things you and I are going, this is what we do, right? So we know it and we love it. But the average person gets none of these tools, none of the training, and it's overwhelming. If I were to just say, go build a budget and work on it, people will just go, nope, I don't know how to do that. And that's exactly why I built Financial Footwork. I said, I want to give everyone a step-by-step guide. Literally, how do I do this 20 minutes to 30 minutes a week and improve my money game? And that was how it was birthed. I mean, from 19 to now.
I love it. And to me, when I look at a coach or a mentor, I've always been trained that the best coach and mentor are people who have actually been where you are, and they are now where you want to be, right? There's a difference between someone who's telling me about financial hardships, but they've never lived it, right? Versus somebody like yourself is like, listen, I understand, not because of what I heard. I'm telling you what I know. So I understand how difficult it is to try to figure out a budget when you're going through the emotional roller coaster of a sick parent, for instance, right? So now you can better help someone say, listen, you got some stuff going on, but you still got to watch your money, right?
Doesn't matter what's going on. You got to have 2 eyes on it. And, I learned that the hard way. There were moments in college where I was like, do not pull out the debit card because you're going to overdraft your account. It's not worth it.
Yeah. I love it. And you are big on having the right relationship with money. Can you talk a little bit about what is the average relationship with money, and B, how can we start correcting that relationship so that we can have this happy, healthy marriage with our money from this point forward?
So, what is a good relationship with money? Let's start there. I'm going to ask you to take it back to when you were little. Do you remember your first encounter with money?
I think so. I think it was some change to go to the house store in our community and buy some penny candy or something like that.
Right? You knew that money could buy the stuff you wanted.
Yeah.
You understood the concept of spending money.
Mm-hmm.
But you were too young to understand the concept of how it was truly made.
That's right. Yeah.
We learn how to spend money before we ever learn how money actually works.
Wow.
We learn the concept of mommy swipes the card and we get food. Mm-hmm. Daddy puts the card in and we get gas for our car. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Daddy pulls out his wallet and a $20 bill and I get a Slurpee. Mm-hmm. We understand how it's spent long before we ever understand how it actually works. And what I mean by how it works is, what is the banking system? How does a debit card truly work? How does your bank account actually work? How's money put in? How does money come out? So we understand and have a relationship with spending money so much earlier than we have a relationship of value and a concept of value and how far a dollar goes. And so what ends up happening with a lot of young people is they learn really fast. I want. I need. When in reality, we are training kids too young how to spend money, and it's all consumer based versus how to save it. And I wasn't allowed to watch cartoons unless it was a morning cartoon with my dad as a kid. I got to watch like Sonic the Hedgehog, right? And DuckTales. I'm dating myself, I know. But I couldn't watch Nickelodeon. And it wasn't because my dad didn't like the shows on Nickelodeon. It was because every time an ad came on, it was selling me something to my age demographic. That's and he didn't want me saying, Daddy, I need a new Barbie. I need a new Polly Pocket. I need a new this. I need to do that. He didn't want to instill spend.
Right.
And so as I was growing up, the way that I was taught about money was how you earn it first and then how you spend it. Wow. And that was something my dad felt was very valuable because he grew up with nothing. My dad grew up very, very poor, and my mom grew up very, very wealthy. So when they were married, I had two very different money opinions. I had a saver and a spender. And so our relationship with money depends on how we learn about it first and then how we perceive it as we grow up. So I perceived money growing up as something that you had to earn. A lot of my friends just assumed they were going to have it. And then when it wasn't there, the panic sets in. And so then you get a negative response to money because then money becomes a stressor because it becomes something difficult. And we create our relationship with money as kids and we carry that with us as adults. So when I work with a lot of players, as you can imagine, there's a lot of fear with money. I'm not going to have it. I'm going to lose it. I'm scared of it. I call those guys my money gurus because they're the ones who don't spend anything. They almost don't enjoy the experience because they're so scared of losing the money. Yeah. Then I have the guys that are like, oh no, it'll keep coming because there's always been money. So they're what we call team bougie. They're the guys that spend all of it. And they're like, oh, it keep coming. And then it doesn't come. And they're like, wait, where'd the paycheck go? Right. So our relationship with money is cultivated as a kid. And that's carried with us as we develop our money skills, which right now, most people are not developing money skills until they actually physically have money, 22 to 25. Right. And so now they have a negative response to money. They're fearful with it and they don't have the tools to manage it. So now we have a huge pandemic on our hands with financial literacy. We have the COVID of money, and that is the financial literacy pandemic that we are facing across the US. And it all starts with what we learn as kids and how we perceive money as children. Because do you have kids at all by chance or
I do. I do.
How often do your kids say, hey, Dad, can I have that? Yep. How often are they asking you for things they see on TV?
Well, they're all grown now, but I remember those days well. And this is why I got into the financial education space myself, because as a man, I've done very well with my sons. I've got 5 sons. I've done very well with training them to be good boys, like so good. Like I had one kid get suspended from school out of the 5, and that didn't happen. That was my baby boy, and it didn't happen until he was like a sophomore in high school. So I passed 4 kids through high school with nobody getting suspended, and the last one wants to act up, right?
That's a baby. The baby does that. You just gotta let it go.
But what made me really start to think is like they were all good. And one of the things that hurt me to my core, Coach Hill, a lot of the times is when they asked for something and I had to say no, not because they didn't deserve it. It's easy if they were doing bad and say, no, you can't get this because your grades are poor. But when your grades are good, you're not acting up in school, you're good in the community, and I got to tell you no because I can't afford it.
Oh,
that's the worst. So that's what got me into, I've got to figure this thing out because they don't deserve that, right? But I remember them being very young and asking for things based on what they saw on TV, natural occurrences like after prom, the next day you go to Six Flags. That's just what you do, right?
That's what you do.
But if we don't got it, then hey man, can somebody get in on a buddy pass? Can somebody help you get in? You know, those kinds of things. But yeah, I remember very well how as someone in marketing, I understand how targeting works with TV and advertisement and all that kind of stuff. So it is flat out amazing that you connected that to our youth, right? Learning how to spend before we ever A, learn how to make, B, learn what the monetary system actually really is, right? I want to transition to something that I know you teach as well, because in your financial footwork, another thing that people don't know to be tracking and that kind of stuff, but also the importance of knowing your numbers, right? Your credit scores, your income, your cash flow, your interest rates on the debts that you borrow. Talk a little bit about the importance of knowing your numbers and how often do you teach people to monitor their numbers to make sure that they're staying on track?
So it's funny you say know your numbers because that's literally on the front of one of my books. Literally, it says know your numbers. That is the title under the book. I am a firm believer that if you don't know where your money is going, you're doing yourself a disservice and you're not building wealth. And in order to build wealth, you have to track everything. There are three things. This is what I tell my NFL players. Anyone that comes into a facility, I tell them there's three things that we think about every day. Our family, our career, and our money. We think about those three things every day. Yes, there's other little things we might think about most days, but we're always thinking about how's my family? Am I going to make enough money at my job? And then do I have enough money in my bank account? And if you're not paying attention and tracking your numbers and knowing where your money is, there's a lot more financial stress in not knowing your numbers than there is in at least knowing them and making a plan to improve them. So budgeting is key. Cash flow is everything. My number one footwork tool is your budget, because your budget is the staple in your financial life for everything else. If you want to start a company, if you want to build generational wealth, if you want to improve your credit score, it all starts with your budget. And if you don't know your numbers, then how do you plan for anything? And some people say, budgeting's hard. I can't do it. I was like, there's more than one way to budget. There's like 10 ways to budget. And it's funny because as working with athletes, I'm like, you guys need everything down to the penny. That was my first year, right? And I'm like, these guys are not down to the penny kind of guys. These are the bucket system kind of guys. So I said, open 5 bank accounts. And you're going to have your monthly expenses. You're going to have your food budget, because let's face it, NFL players eat. You're going to have your clothes budget because they love them some clothes and shoes, which I do too. I get it. Trust me. And then you're going to have your family budget and you're going to have your savings account. And they track easier with the bucket system. And then once they get comfortable with that, then we get down to the penny after a few months. And we're like, okay, now you get it. Let's get more strategic. Let's use our playbook a little bit better. Let's make bigger plays. And they're like, okay, yes, we can do this. So there's a million ways to budget, but if you're not doing it, you don't know your numbers.
My mentor always tells me you can't measure what you don't track. And I think that's key. And the whole, so was it the working with the athletes that got you on this mindset? Because I love the analogies of train your money like an athlete. So was that something that you were kind of whirling around in your head as you were starting to get your personal finances in order? Were you an athlete yourself as you were coming through college? Okay. All right. So did it come from your athletic career, or did you really develop the concept of, you know what? If we look at our money the way that an athlete trains his body, the way an athlete trains his mind and studies their playbook and know everything and every place they're supposed to be on the field. How that was developed?
It was a little of both, honestly. I can't credit it all to myself because it's not.
Okay.
I thought about it a lot before I
Mhm.
started working with athletes because I was an athlete
Mhm.
and I was training, I was lifting, I was eating right, I was fueling my body, I was fueling my brain, which is there's 4 steps to training your money, in my opinion. And
Mhm.
I have a whole blog article on that just really talks about why I came up with the concept of it. But the
Mhm.
idea behind it was training your money, just like you train your body, is a consistent effort every day. If
Mhm.
you're not being consistent, you can't be a pro athlete.
Yeah.
You just can't.
Yeah.
You're not going to succeed.
That's
If
right.
you want to be a pro with your money and build wealth, you have to be consistent. Anyone that says, "Oh, I was great 20 days out of the 30-day month," you
Mhm.
know that they're not doing well with their money because what they do the other 10 days.
That's right.
And just, like anything, as you're training, I would take a week off and it would be harder to get back into my routine.
Mhm.
And I went,
Mhm.
money, same thing. Okay, so let's train our money. What does that look like? Even if it's just 30 minutes a week, I can
Mhm.
do that on a Sunday morning with my cup of coffee in
Mhm.
front of my TV, and I can do my budget from my couch. I can make
Gotcha.
sure all my bills are paid.
Mhm.
And I went, okay, training your money. And so as I was in the facilities, one of the things that really sparked me was how disciplined these guys are. They show up at 7 a.m. and they go till 11 every day. And I
Mhm.
went, okay, there's some training, some real discipline there, some real focus.
Yeah.
How do I transition that to money? And so over time, it was just working with guys and learning how they approach things, taking my approach to it, a couple of my other coaches' approaches to how they
Mhm.
do things with money, and we put it all into one and made it work.
Love it. Love it. Love it. All right. Well, Hillary, we do this segment on the Cortez Hustle Show called Freestyle because I
Yeah.
know you got bars, Coach
Here we
Hill.
go. Here we go.
Right? I'm gonna jam. I'm gonna put a beat on. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So it's not so much to dropping bars on a beat as much as it is as I'm building this media empire that will one day rival Ted Turner and Disney. I don't always ask the right question. So if the conversation has not evolved to something that you really think my audience needs to know, take 90 seconds or so and just speak from the heart, freestyle what you want to cover or what you want to reiterate that we've already covered. So this is Freestyle with Coach Hill on the Cortez Hustle Show.
I love it. Wiki, wiki. Okay, I'm just kidding. 'Cause that was terrible. All right. I'm just going to reiterate something because you hit it spot on, which is know your numbers.
Yeah.
And we're very fearful with money. Nobody likes to think that they don't know money. But the reality is most of us don't know money. So don't be afraid to tune in to shows just like this and learn from everyone. Have a coach, train your money, get your budget going. If you don't know where to start, pick up a book and start reading. We have a program that'll show you. There are a million ways to learn. If you're a video type of a person, go on YouTube and start researching. Money is integral in our lives. It literally dictates what we can and cannot do on a daily basis. So if you can take control of that, you have so much more freedom in your life. And I think that's the most important thing I can tell people to do is take control, learn something, anything. It can be podcast, book, it can be a YouTube video. Take a nugget every day and apply it to your financial life. Get 1% better every day, as James Clear in Atomic Habits would say. Get 1% better every day, because that is going to be a huge upward slope for you as you improve your money game. And have a budget. That's my last piece. I beat people over the head with it.
I got to have a budget, right? And I'll tell you honestly, I am horrible with the budget in my personal life and my business, and it comes to bite me time and time and time again. So I love that you are just hammering away, because here's the other thing, guys, you might fail at your first one.
Oh yeah.
And I just scrap it and I start another one. Right.
Yeah.
And I might get through. Yeah, I might get through 2 weeks and then I fall off. Well, guess what? I know I need a budget. So I'm gonna start again. And eventually the keep starting and it's going to become more of an integral part and just become second nature to me. Speaking of freestyle, right? I want to get your take on this statement from the legend, Kanye West.
Oh, yep. Love me some Kanye.
Where he says, having money is not everything. Not having it is. Having money is not everything. Not having it is. What are your thoughts?
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. I like the way Kanye's mind works, because think about what has happened to him. He's gone broke twice. And when I say broke, like bankrupt twice, and then went and made billions. Yeah. Now, not all of us can do that. We are not all Kanye. Right. But he has a really good relationship with money, in my opinion, because he's not fearful of it.
Yeah.
And that statement shows you he's not fearful of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think because he understands how he feels about money and what he sees it as doing, he sees it as a tool. He uses it as a tool. He doesn't look at it as anything else. Yeah. He's been able to use that mentality to make a ton and not sweat it. Yep. Now, mind you, he's also one of the top entertainers in the world, and it's not hard for him to collaborate with someone and make a ton of money. Yeah. But because he's not scared of it, he's not afraid to take risks. And that shows you that having money isn't everything.
Right. Yeah. I love it. And in my space, I get a lot of people, Cortez, that's all you do is talk about money. Mm-hmm. And I say, well, that's all you do is talk about money as well. Most people don't realize that. I talk about money in the affirmative and in the positive. Hey, this is where I'm going. I'm building wealth. I want my kids to be wealthy. Hey, I've got to be in business. I think entrepreneurship is the clear path to building wealth when you have to build it from scratch. So I'm always talking about those things. And it was like, I say, you talk about money all the time too. Yeah. He's like, no, I don't. I'm like, yes, you do. When you go to the store, what's the first thing that pops in your mind? Can I afford this? You're thinking about money. You want to go on a date. You're thinking about, hey, where can we go? Because the decisions that we make, most of them are financially based. So you're talking about money all the time too. You just don't admit it, right?
You're just not doing it the same way. You're like, instead of a positive affirmation, it's, can I afford it? Not, how can I afford it?
That's right. That's right.
And so by changing and reframe your perspective to a positive affirmation, how can I afford it? Not, I can't. Because the second you say I can't, you won't.
Right. Love it. Love it. Love it. So really quickly, Coach Hill, how can everybody connect with you, and what's the best program for them to start with when they go to financialfootwork.com?
Yes. So if you want to find us, go to financialfootwork.com. We have a 12-week boot camp that'll train you how to budget step by step. 3 whole months will help you build the budget all the way through. And you'll find that right on our homepage or in our shop. And you get 20% off just because Cortez Hustle Show is awesome. So we want you to actually get in there and dig deep and train your money 20 to 30 minutes a week. So financialfootwork.com, or find us on IG. We have a pretty motivational, positive affirmation page there that's all about building your money game. Financial Footwork is the IG tag.
Love it, love it, love it. So at Financial Footwork on IG, real quick, man, you got a pretty dope show yourself on YouTube that you guys do pretty regularly. Talk about that real quick.
Yeah, we do combos with Coach Hill. I interview active and retired NFL athletes about money. And we actually have season 2. It's airing in 2 weeks. And we have 4 new Miami Dolphins players. I'm so excited. 2 retired, 2 retired, 2 active guys. So as the guys are starting their next season, we're going to be doing some bloopers, some behind the scenes with some pretty hilarious moments on set. And these are just amazing human beings. We're going to talk about community and how they give back. We're going to talk about their thoughts on financial literacy. We're going to talk about their favorite NFL moments, which are absolutely hilarious because we're interviewing the guy that chest bumped the commissioner during his draft. So I didn't know it until he told me, and then I had to go find the YouTube clip, and I was dying laughing when I was like, oh my gosh, he almost knocked Goodell off the stage. What were you? He's like, he missed it. I went up. He didn't go up. It just happened. So great humans, and to hear their perspective on money and their relationship with it is really cool.
Cool. 2 quick things before I let you go. Craziest horror story that you've heard about money working with these athletes, and craziest success story, someone who has gotten it right with their money as an athlete, right?
Yeah. Okay. So horror story.
Mm-hmm.
I had an athlete give his auntie $120,000 to furnish a house, and all he got was a bed.
Mm-hmm. Wait a minute.
He came home to his condo, was like, "Where's my furniture? Where's my art?" No, he had a bed.
Wow.
That was one. That was a few years back.
Wow.
And that money was gone, like gone. Never saw it again.
Wow.
I think one of my biggest, most favorite I have a couple quite a few success stories, honestly, that I just love. But I'm going to shout out Julius Thomas, who played in a league for, I'm going to get this right, 7 years. He's corrected me a few times. Sometimes I say 8. It's 7. And brilliant mind. He's getting his PhD in psychology, helping guys with CTE.
Wow.
And Ashton Lampkins is my other dude. Got to give him a shout out in Dallas, Texas. He started his own trucking company and built it from the ground up. And now he's got a fleet of over 20 trucks, and he's running it himself, and he's doing all the day-to-day. And he is hustling to learn every single day. He's just an awesome dude. And his girlfriend Cammie's right there alongside him, and they're building their little empire. It's not even little. They're building a huge empire. Yeah. And he just went out and did it. He's like, I'm going to do this. How do I do it? And he set the framework and went to town.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to and learning from Coach Hill, founder of financialfootwork.com. The financial coach to the NFL is what I coined you to be, because it's not going to be long before you've got all 28, 30 teams, 32 teams, all of the teams are going to be contracting with Coach Hill because they need it. And I think it becomes a better testament, because when these guys get it, they can leverage their influence to help everybody else get it, right? I think that's what's key, is when they get it and you hear somebody like Shaquille O'Neal get on Earn Your Leisure and talk about, listen, guys, this is what I did with my money. You hear someone like Mr. Bridges talk about, when everybody else was going out, I went and hang out with the owners of the team and I start soaking up game, right? When they get it, they're so influential that they can influence everybody else to take their money seriously. So you guys go out to financialfootwork.com, get 20% off if you use Hustle20 as your promo code on anything that you buy there. Super excited that you decided to come hang with us this morning, Coach Hill. I know it's early out there. If you're still out on the West Coast, that's early for you. So I appreciate it. You guys make sure that you tune in the rest of the week. We got some great shows lined up for you guys the rest of the week as well. So we appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate you again, Coach Hill. Until we talk to you guys next time, we want you to get your money up, because you absolutely can do it. But more importantly, you deserve to do it, each and every single one of you. So hustle up. But you've got to overcome fear if you're going to win.
You're tuned into the Cortez Hustle Show. Please like and subscribe.